The United States of America will host the 2024 Copa America. This will be the second time the United States hosts the event and the fifth time the U.S. men's national team plays in it, as it's primarily a competition for South American countries, nations from CONMEBOL, a very prestigious international soccer tournament with over 100 years of history. So today, we're going to preview from a U.S. men's national team perspective. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the ultimate U.S. men's national team Copa America preview. This is how it's going to go. We will go through when and where to watch the United States in the Copa America, how we got here, our history in the tournament, the full roster, our group, schedule, bracket, and at the end, I will give you my expectations for the United States in this tournament for whatever that's worth. Essentially everything you need to know, and I will also be giving you my honest thoughts on head coach Greg Berhalter and why I believe this is a make it or break it tournament for Berhalter. I had a lot of free time, so I decided to make this video. I also have no life, so that's another reason. But before we start, as always, since I am a YouTube host and I am obligated to beg for likes, I am kindly asking you to hit the like button and share this video with a new US men's national team fan or with that friend that you don't like. And if you do that, you will get absolutely nothing. You'll get nothing out. I guess maybe you'll get more tactical manager videos because when I get more likes, I get an ego boost and I just start making more videos. But that's about it. Okay, let's roll the intro because I'm starting to embarrass myself. The United States men's national team is set to play in the Copa America this summer. The tournament will start June 20th and end July 14th. I'll talk about the US men's national team schedule very soon, but before we even talk about that, how did the United States do in previous Copa Americas that they participated in? And well, the US has played in the Copa America 4 times throughout history. The first one being all the way back in 1993, which was the year prior to the '94 World Cup hosted in the United States. That Copa America was played in Ecuador and the US men's national team was eliminated in the group stage with 1 draw and 2 losses. 3 goals scored and 6 allowed. Then in 1995, 2 years later, the United States played again in the Copa America. This time it was hosted by Uruguay, and the US men's national team managed to finish in 4th place, making it all the way to the semifinals with a historic 3-0 win over Argentina in the group stage where Alexi Lalas actually scored. Now, he may suck as a pundit, but I must say, I'm proud of Alexi. I really am. On top of that, the United States eliminated Mexico in the quarterfinals and then lost to Brazil in the semis. 12 years later, in 2007, the US men's national team would play in the Copa America for the 3rd time. This time led by Bob Bradley, they managed to lose all 3 games in the group stage and get grouped. Then the last time the United States played in the Copa America was in 2016, which was a special edition hosted in the United States to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the tournament. The United States made it to the semifinals under Jurgen Klinsmann, where they lost Argentina 4-0 in Houston, Texas. Okay, now listen and pay attention. I do not know if you are superstitious or not, but did you notice a pattern? The first time the United States played, they got grouped. Then the next edition, they made it to the semifinals. After that, we got grouped again. Then the edition after, we made it to the semifinals. So if that pattern continues, the US men's national team will get grouped in this edition. But that's only if you are superstitious. Or just, as Michael Scott would say, a little stitious. Now, in my honest and humble opinion, I doubt the US men's national team will get grouped in this edition, so I'm not superstitious. With that said, why don't we talk about the 2024 Copa America? Or more specifically, how we got here. Despite being the host nation and a guest, the US men's national team still had to qualify through the CONCACAF Nations League to the Copa America. Understand that all CONCACAF teams are guests, despite having to qualify to this edition via their confederation. The United States just had to beat Trinidad and Tobago in the Nations League quarterfinals to qualify. But I'll tell you what, we almost didn't make it. Kinda. I mean, it was under control, but it seemed like the United States lost control of it for a couple minutes during the second game. Let me explain. The quarterfinals had two legs. The first game was in the United States, and the United States pulled a 3-0 win. But the game wasn't as easy as it sounds. We played with an extra player for over 45 minutes, and we didn't score our first goal till the 82nd minute, essentially getting 3 goals in the last 8 minutes. But okay, so far, so good. It's still a 3-0 win. It doesn't really matter how you get it. But then you have the second game that was in Trinidad, and the US men's national team managed to get an early lead with Anthony Robinson. But then a couple minutes later, Serginho Dest managed to get one of the funniest and most idiotic red cards of all time. He just cursed the ref and kicked the ball into the stands for absolutely no reason. And then Greg Berhalter, the CIO of the US men's national team. Oh, and in case you're wondering, CIO is Chief Imbecile Officer. But anyhow, Greg was not able to adapt, replacing a midfielder for a right back while keeping 2 players up top when we had the 1-0 lead, losing control of the midfield and allowing Trinidad to come to life, eventually getting a 2-1 lead and winning this game. But understand, Berhalter making good decisions does happen. It's just very rare, and it didn't really happen this game. The odds of him making a good decision are as low as finding maybe a shiny Suicune in Pokemon Crystal, something like that. So Trinidad pulled a 2-1 comeback and honestly had a few good chances to increase that lead. They just didn't have the players or the quality to punish the United States. Regardless, the US men's national team went through and qualified to the 2024 Copa America. Okay, now before I talk about Berhalter and why he must be under pressure for the Copa America, the United States' group, schedule, and bracket, we must go through a quick word from our sponsor. Otherwise, Tactical Manager TV will go bankrupt, and I do not have the government backing me to bail me out. So a quick word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. The link is in the description to play, and we'll be back in 1 minute. Underdog Fantasy is a fun game to play prior to any soccer match, or basketball, football as well. You know, it just adds an extra excitement to the game. And this summer, I will be playing Underdog Fantasy during the Copa America and Euros. You can download the app by using the link in the description of this video and use the promo code TMTV. Yes, please, don't forget to use the code. And let me tell you why. Sign up with the code TMTV to claim your special pick plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. The game I mainly play is called Pick'em. I just click on it, scroll to the soccer section, and pick a player for the specific match and select the stats that I believe will be lower or higher. It's very easy to play, but be smart about it because it's not that easy to win. I'll also be playing some Underdog Fantasy during some match live streams during the Copa America and Olympics, posting my picks on X and Instagram, so you must stay tuned for that as well. And once again, I'm a professional hater, so usually I pick anything that will have me rooting for the downfall of that player. With that said, once again, thank you Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the channel. The link to play is in the description of this video, and the promo code once again is TMTV. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy. Okay, we are back, and now I want to talk about Greg Berhalter and mainly address, is he under pressure? Should he be under pressure? He took over the US men's national team back in 2019, so he has been in charge for over 5 years. And he has enjoyed a lot of success in CONCACAF, the weakest confederation in the world when we exclude Oceania. But sure, you can only beat what's in front of you, and he did manage to win 2 CONCACAF Nations League and a Gold Cup. However, outside of CONCACAF, Greg Berhalter's record is as follows. In 22 games, he got 8 wins, 8 draws, and 6 losses, with 27 goals scored and 25 goals scored against. This excludes Camp Cupcake, you know, those silly January camps that only have domestic-based players. This also has games that were all played in the United States or neutral field. He never had to play any of these games away. And if you remove the Oman and Uzbekistan friendlies, which were pretty much added just to fluff up his record, make it look better, this team has the same amount of wins as losses, and we would also only average 1 goal per game. Now, I know you might say, why would you exclude Oman and Uzbekistan? Well, to that I tell you, because it's freaking Oman and Uzbekistan. I didn't even know they had a national team until we played them. It does, however, seem that very often Berhalter accomplishes the bare minimum to keep it going. He's essentially taking the C's get degrees to a whole new level. He qualified to the World Cup in 3rd place behind Mexico and Canada, only staying ahead of Costa Rica due to goal differential. He did the bare minimum. In the 2022 World Cup, he did the bare minimum as well. He tied Wales, tied England, beat the almighty Iran, and then he lost to the Dutch in the round of 16, which is not horrible, but again, it's the bare minimum. He barely qualified to the Copa America, beating Trinidad at home and then losing 2-1 away, but then again, C's get degrees. He passed. He made it there. And then recently, prior to the Copa America, he got crushed by Colombia 5-1 and managed to tie Brazil 1-1, both games in the United States. Last year in 2023, he lost to Germany in the United States, and he never really got this team, the US, to punch above its weight. Not even once in 5 years, something previous US men's national team coaches were actually able to do. And what's the point that I'm trying to make here? He has not shown any evidence that he will ever get the most talented generation the United States men's national team has ever had to have its whole to be greater than the sum of its parts. Now, to be fair, he has improved the roster selections and starting 11s, at least from 2023 beyond. But he continues to play a system that does not fit the profile of the many players he has, which destroys the performance of certain players, makes them look terrible, kills creativity, makes the team look pragmatic and disjointed at the same time, while ruining the speed of play. And if we want to do something special in 2026, we will need a coach that maximizes the talent he has to the fullest. If in 5 years he was not able to do so, what makes us believe he can during the 2026 World Cup? So, in my opinion, Berhalter has had way too many chances. And the 2024 Copa America should be the last one to convince us that he can be this guy that will maximize the player he has and make a deep run in the 2026 World Cup. You know, and by a deep run, I mean a quarterfinals or semifinals at home. So he needs to pull an upset in the Copa America to make us believe. And by that, I mean he needs to at least make it to the semifinals in the Copa America. He should be under pressure. And my brother in Christ, please, no one in the comment section comment, you can't do it with these players. We've seen Bruce Arena make it to a World Cup quarterfinals with a worse roster than the current one. We've seen the United States make it to the Copa America semifinals twice with less talent. There are no excuses. Berhalter and these players need to get the job done and convince us that he is the right coach. Now, sure, you might say the players are not good enough. If the players are the problem, there's only one way to find out. You replace the mediocre coach, you put a new coach, and if the team continues to play like shit, then yeah, maybe it was the players. Even though we kind of looked better under BJ Callahan, which leads me to believe that Berhalter is the problem. But anyhow, let's give Berhalter the benefit of the doubt once again, this time in the Copa America, and see how he does. But he should be under pressure. Now let's quickly go through the 26-man roster that Greg called in for the Copa America. So he called in 3 goalkeepers, and one of them is Ethan Horvath that plays for Cardiff City, that is in Wales, the country. Then you have Sean Johnson from Toronto FC and Matt Turner from Nottingham Forest. As the defenders, he brought a total amount of 9 defenders. Cameron Carter-Vickers from Celtic is a center back that was called in. Christopher Lund, the left back from Palermo, was also called in. Mark McKenzie, the center back from Genk. Shaquille Moore, the right back from Nashville. Yeah, it's 2024, and we're bringing Shaq Moore, the worst US men's national team player in the 2022 World Cup, to the Copa America, to another major tournament. It's happening. Then you have center back Tim Ream from Fulham, center back Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, Anthony Robinson, the left back from Fulham, Miles Robinson, the center back from FC Cincinnati, and Joe Scally, the right back from Borussia Mönchengladbach. He also brought in 7 midfielders, and they are Tyler Adams from Bournemouth, Johnny Cardoso from Real Betis, Luca De La Torre from Celta de Vigo, Weston McKennie from Juventus, Yunus Musa from Milan, Giovanni Reina from Borussia Dortmund, and Malik Tillman from PSV. He also brought in 7 forwards, and they are Brendan Aronson from Union Berlin, Floating Balogun from Monaco, Ricardo Pepi from PSV, Christian Pulisic from Milan, and by the way, Christian Pulisic also played in the 2016 Copa America, and so did Ethan Horvath. Actually, Horvath was a backup, and Christian Pulisic got a few minutes off the bench. Then you also have Josh Sargent from Norwich, Timothy Weah from Juventus, and Haji Wright from Coventry. In my opinion, This is the strongest and the most talented roster on paper that the US men's national team has ever sent to a major tournament. But of course, the game ain't played on paper. Okay, now let's go through the group stage, the schedule, and the bracket in case the US men's national team gets out of their group, which, once again, I fully expect this team to get out of their group. So the US was placed in Group C with Uruguay, Panama, and Bolivia without the altitude. The top two teams of the group advanced to the quarterfinals. On June 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, the United States will play its first match, which is against Bolivia in Dallas. Then for the second round, the United States will face Panama June 27th, also at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and this game will be played in Atlanta. For the last round of the group stage, the US men's national team will face Uruguay in Kansas City, July 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're in the United States, you may watch the Copa America on Fox, Univision, or TUDN. I highly recommend avoiding Fox or muting Fox because they can be unbearable at times, but don't worry, because we will be covering the Copa America here on YouTube, every single game from the US men's national team, and some games that the US won't be playing. We're going to do match previews, 7 things we learned, post games, and live watch-alongs for multiple games. Which, by the way, you can let me know which teams or which national teams do you want us to do live watch-alongs outside of the United States, right? So any team that's not the US men's national team, because those we're going to do anyway. Now, assuming the US men's national team advances to the quarterfinals, what does our bracket look like? So CONMEBOL placed groups A and B all on one side of the bracket, and then groups C and D on the other side of the bracket, which means regardless of which position the United States advances from the group stage, they would only face Argentina, that's from Group A, for example, or Mexico, that's from Group B, in the final, or a third place match. The United States will likely face Brazil or Colombia in the quarterfinals, which is when Berhalter will get another opportunity to pull a signature win, which he hasn't so far in his career. However, based on the 2 friendlies that we just had with Brazil and Colombia prior to the Copa America, I think that it's very unlikely that the United States can beat them in a competitive game under Greg Berhalter. But again, let's remain hopeful and let's give them the benefit of the doubt, even though I'll say this: hope kills. Okay, so what are my expectations for the US men's national team in this Copa America? And if you made it this far in the video, you've been watching me for what, 15, 20 minutes, so you might as well drop a like and let me know in the comment section down below, how far do you think the United States will make in the 2024 Copa America? But let me tell you my thoughts. And I'll say this: the United States men's national team is playing this Copa America at home with the most talented generation we've ever had. Some will try to set the bar low. Do not fall for it. I'm going to choose to keep the bar very high. I believe in our players, and I'm choosing to believe that Berhalter might finally get it right. Probably not, but again, I am hopeful. The bar should be the highest it's ever been. The United States made it to the semifinals in 2016. That should be the goal. Get there and see what happens. Pull a massive upset in the quarterfinals. Make a statement for 2026. If Berhalter fails to get the whole to finally be better than the sum of its parts this summer, what makes anyone believe he'll do so in the 2026 World Cup? This should be his last chance. Otherwise, we need to change the coaching staff and take risks. And sure, maybe the players are the problem. As I said earlier in the video, maybe they are overrated. But there's only one way to find out. It will be by getting a new competent coach, and if the results are the same, then sure, Berhalter was never the problem. Now, being as objective as I can, based on the data we have, the United States will probably get out of the group and crash out in the quarterfinals against Brazil or Colombia under Greg Berhalter. So those are my realistic expectations. Get out of the group in second or first, probably in second behind Uruguay, and then lose to Brazil or Colombia. But what I'm hopeful for is that we'll get out of the group, and I don't care if it's first or second, but then in the quarterfinals, knock out Colombia or Brazil and make a massive statement. Alright everyone, that does it for today. We are very much looking forward here at Tactical Manager TV to be providing you with the best possible Copa America coverage in English. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. And thank you everyone that has been joining our Patreon and helping support the channel. That's all for today. I want to thank you all very much for watching and have a great day.